Welcome. I'm Dr. Crystal Harris, and I would like to, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Nursing and Health Professions, I'd like to welcome everyone to the pinning ceremony for the nursing graduates of the class of December 2017. We thank all of you for sharing in this time of honor and celebration. The conferring of the nursing pin on graduates is a long-held tradition in nursing education. Each school or program of nursing has their own unique pin that is worn by all of the graduates of the program. This pin is traditionally worn as part of the professional nursing uniform or attire. And so the pinning ceremony became a tradition in nursing, which marked the end of the student nurse period and the beginning of the professional nursing career. The conferring of the nursing pin is our way of acknowledging the accomplishments and welcoming these graduates into their professional career in nursing. I would like to thank Mosaic Life Care and Julie Thompson, their chief nurse executive, for the lovely centerpiece on our table. It was sent with their congratulations for the class of December 2017. Now, obviously, the graduates would not be here today without the hard work and dedication of the nursing faculty, which are seated to my right. I would like to introduce these members of the nursing faculty here today and ask them to stand as I introduce them. Heather Kendall, coordinator of the pre-licensure program. Dr. Julie Baldwin. Dr. Evelyn Brooks. Dr. Christy Campbell. Ms. Jill Morsbach. Ms. Carmen Romero. Dr. Gretchen Quinstead-Moe. Ms. Stephanie Stewart. Dr. Michelle Skinner. And that is everybody here. I would also like to acknowledge all the faculty, the clinical faculty that's in attendance today as well. Their names of our adjuncts are on your program. So these people provide a lot of oversight and help to our students, and we so appreciate them as well. I would also like to thank those members of the Missouri Western Administration who have joined us today. For without their support and leadership, we would not be able to offer the high-quality nursing program of which we're all very proud. Members of the university administrative seated on the platform are Dr. Vardabedian, University President, Dr. Jeannie Daffrin, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Kathleen O'Connor, Dean of College of Professional Studies, and Ms. Lacey Clark, our pinning speaker and Missouri Western State University alum. We are honored to have all our nursing alumni recognized in this way for the incredible work they're doing to improve the care of patients and advance the profession of nursing. Other members of Western's administration, joining us in the audience are Dr. Doug Davenport, Associate Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Cale Fessler, Vice President of Financial Planning, Jerry Pickman, Vice President for University Advancement, Dr. Shanna Meyer, Vice President for Student Affairs, and Dr. Judy Grimes, Dean of Students. I would like to extend a special thank you to Missouri Western's President, Dr. Vardabedian, for his vision and leadership for our university. I would now like to invite him to the podium to share his congratulations and welcoming remarks.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to our December 2017 Nurses Pinning Ceremony. Really is a special moment, an important moment in our university. I believe we have 36 BSN graduates and even have at least 2 master's degree graduates in our program this semester. I continue to be extremely impressed with this program, its students, its faculty, its staff. Just being in the waiting room with them you sense that you are among the best of the best on our campus. Their accreditation outcomes are very impressive. I can't tell you how many times I'm contacted by professionals in the healthcare industry saying they really want to hire our nurses because they have such a great track record. So I have the greatest appreciation for this program. You are about to become part of a extremely important helping profession, and you have that helping profession journey ahead of you, which can be a very meaningful career. And I know, just from the track record of this program, that you will take that responsibility very seriously. Well, as I say at every pinning ceremony to our soon-to-be graduates, wear your pin proudly, because we are very proud of you. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Vardabedian. Your support of the nursing program and our students is truly appreciated. Each semester, the faculty nominate a Missouri Western graduate who has demonstrated significant accomplishment in their professional career. This semester, our selection was Lacey Clark. Lacey graduated in 2006 with her bachelor's degree from Missouri Western and earned her master's in business administration. Ms. Lacey is the director of CVTU Rapid Observation and Monitor Technicians at Mosaic Life Care. Please join me in welcoming Lacey Clark to the podium.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for having me today. When they called me to ask if I was able to come speak to you today, to the class, I thought I had no clue what I was going to speak about, for one, and then the fact that I am deathly allergic to podiums. But then I realized there were several people in the room that I think maybe could save my life, so I got over it, and I think I'll be okay. And then I realized that I wanted to tell you my story. So my story, even though is somewhat sad, and I'm sorry for that, it is how nursing and nurses have been there for me when I needed them the most, and what being a compassionate, caring nurse is really all about. So please bear with me if I do cry. I'm sorry. When I was 1, my mother died of congestive heart failure. And then at the age of 2, my father died of lung cancer. My sister and I were sent to live with family, but it was not the family that you would really call a home. So we spent many years dreaming about growing older and starting our family of our own one day, and that we would love them and treat them the way we knew they should have been. So as years went by, I ended up living in many different places, and finally, after graduation from high school, I went out on my own. When I was 20, I found a job as a patient care tech on the floor that I actually manage today. And within weeks of me working on the unit, I realized that this was not just a unit, but it was my new home. The nurses that I worked with immediately adopted me. They raised me as if I was their own daughter. And then the patients that I cared for loved me more than my own family had ever had. That is when I knew I was meant to be a nurse. As I worked full-time to put myself through nursing school, I loved every minute that I was with my patients at their bedside and with my coworkers. After a few years, I graduated finally and stayed working where I really loved. Shortly after, I met the man that I'm married and is my husband today, and it was finally time to have a family of my own. After dating for a few years, we decided to get married, and then we were pregnant shortly after. I was so excited for this baby and the chance to have my family that nothing I thought could mess this up. Until one day, I just wasn't feeling well, and at this time, I was only 24 weeks pregnant. So I did what any stubborn nurse would do, and I ignored it, and I went to a wedding. I later decided that maybe something wasn't right. So I went to the doctor later that night and found out that I was actually already dilated to a 5 and halfway through labor. After being told this, I knew as a nurse what the reality was of having a baby at 24 weeks, and I'm sure you all do too. But my family did not. So I went into what I call nurse mode, which I do often, and I stayed strong for everyone else. I was shipped to a hospital that was an hour away in Kansas City and told to lie on my head for 4 days and hold him in as long as I could. I tried. So after 4 days of trying, he decided it was time to come. My husband, sister, and mother-in-law, who's really all I had gone back to St. Joe to get a few things, run errands, and come back because who knew when this baby was going to come. So a few of my nurse friends that I've worked with for a very long time and love them dearly decided to come visit me so that way they could have the break. During this time, things started to go downhill, and they said there was no time to wait for my family to return. So Joan, my nurse friend, coworker, and adopted mother, helped me deliver my baby that day. The next day, the doctors told us that more than likely our baby will not survive. But if he does, he will more than likely be in a wheelchair due to the damages that he had for his brain bleeds, the multiple brain bleeds that he had suffered. So the hope for my family at that time that I had always wanted was being ripped away from me at that time. A few days went by, and I stayed by his bedside and performed his cares as much as I could until I decided that I knew in my heart that my baby was going to be okay and that he was going to be fine. As a nurse, I know that is not the reality of the situation, but as a mother, that's what I felt. So I decided to go back to work after 2 weeks. I'm crazy, I know. After 2 weeks, and save all the time I could for him for when he was able to come home to me and so I could give him all the love I could. On the day before I was going back to work, I struggled with leaving his bedside. I thought of all the horrible things that could happen and what had happened when I wasn't there and how he might feel abandoned and how awful of a mother I was to do this to him. As tears ran down my cheeks, standing at his doorway, Vicky, the nurse that we had that day, noticed that I was standing there crying. She stopped fidgeting with the broken iMed that she was trying to mess with, and she looked up at me and she said, "Somebody that loves your baby is going to be with him tomorrow, so you are okay." I looked at her and knew everything was going to be just fine. Vicky, at that time, gave me the comfort that I needed on one of the hardest days of my life. As weeks turned into months, and after multiple blood transfusions, IVs, tests, antibiotics, and surgeries in codes, he finally was able to come home after 4.5 months in the NICU the day after Christmas. As my son, Caden, grew stronger over the next year, and we found that he actually had no development or motor function delays. Yay. So we did, my husband and I did what any crazy NICU couple would do after having a baby in a NICU. We decided to build a house because we needed another challenge, right? Yes. So since my husband's family actually owns a local concrete company, we knew that we could build our dream home and do most of the work ourselves. So we thought this would be a great idea to start over from what we had just been through. So we started building in June of 2013, and at this time, my husband was also a full-time city police officer that worked evenings. He had worked a late evening one night shift and then got up early the next day to go to work on our new home. Shortly after, I received a phone call from his brother stating that my husband, Stephen, had fallen and he needed to go to the hospital. I said what any stubborn nurse would say: "He'll be fine. There's probably nothing wrong. He's good. Just tell him to come home. I'll take him to the ER later." His brother then proceeded to tell me that Stephen had actually crushed his thumb, and passed out from the pain, falling headfirst off of the foundation wall, 10 foot headfirst into the foundation concrete floor. Once again, yes, my tone changed then. Once again, I knew as a nurse what the reality was of what was just happening to my husband, and his family did not. So I did what I do best, and I went into nurse mode. I rushed to the ER to arrive at his bedside where he was able to speak, comprehend, but was in severe pain. He was rushed back to have an emergent CAT scan and returned shortly after with the results of a severe subdural bleed. He was transferred to ICU, where I stayed at his bedside for the next day, only leaving at night for visiting hours and to be with my son. After taking shifts with my mother-in-law and still trying to take care of my son without any other family to help, I knew that I really needed to be at his bedside because I was the one who knew them the best, and I think I could recognize what was going on and if he was getting worse. So Stephen had fallen on a Saturday morning, and by Sunday night, I returned to his bedside after just leaving for their bedside report and noticed that something had changed. The nurse, Nikki, and I did his assessment together and recognized the same things and knew we had to call. Nikki was persistent in calling the doctor until she was able to get a CAT scan order for his brain. Shortly after, Nikki came to me and said that the neurosurgeon will be in shortly and we need to be ready. The surgeon arrived, and Nikki came in and sat down next to me and held my hand while he explained that Stephen's swelling in his brain had drastically increased and that it doesn't look good. He was 27 at the time. He told me the options were emergent brain surgery and to remove his skull, and hopefully the swelling will subside, or continue to treat with medicine and see if anything changes. Once again, the family I tried so hard to have was being ripped away from me. I told the doctor that he had to save him no matter what because he's the only one I had, and that if we had to do surgery, that is what we needed to do. He reminded me of the fact that Stephen more than likely wouldn't survive the surgery, but if he does, he would have the mentality of a 12-year-old and would not be able to speak. I called his family, and I told them what the plan would be, and I stayed strong. We waited for hours for his first surgery, and then he returned to ICU in stable condition. By this time, I had been up for almost 48 hours and was emotionally and mentally exhausted. As I sat there quiet at his bedside around 3 a.m., which I wasn't supposed to be there then, with no one else around, Nikki came in, my nurse, and with a pillow and blanket, and she leaned forward to me and says, "I don't care about visiting hours tonight. You are staying right here next to him." I thanked her for her kindness and compassion, knowing she was thinking the same thing I was. This very well could be the last night I have next to my husband. A few hours later, Stephen had a repeat CAT scan of his head to find that he had multiple blood clots had formed under where the surgery had been, and they needed to remove them immediately. He again went back at 5 a.m. for another emergent surgery, and he was then kept intubated and sedated for 3 days, and then we were allowed to finally let him wake up. On that day, even though he couldn't speak, I knew my husband was there. I could see it. He spent 2 weeks in ICU recovering, then a week and a half at Madonna Rehab in Nebraska. He had his skull put back, large part of his skull, put back in after about a month and a half, and then he actually recovered at 3 months and went back to full duty as being a police officer. No longer getting on walls at concrete, though. As the story might seem sad to some, I'm sure others see that I have a black cloud over my head that follows me, but I truly see it differently. To me, there might be a black cloud that follows me, but I always have a ray of sunshine that comes in at the end. And so today, the reason why I have chose to share this story with you is so that you can see that being a nurse is not just about giving medications, because I don't remember what time they gave them and if they were on time, if the assessments were done. It was about being a compassionate nurse that cares about others like their own family when they needed it the most and at their worst times. So as you start on your careers as nurses, remember this story, because on one day you will be that Vicky that is the strength for that NICU mother, or you will be Vicky that is the strength for that NICU mother, or you will be Nikki that says forget about visiting hours to give a wife one last chance to be next to her husband, or you will even be Joan that works on the unit that they call a home, and they look up for guidance and love and helps deliver their baby. I can't explain to you how much nursing and nurses means to me, but I hope that this story helps you in your career and in the future. And I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lacey. I would now like to invite faculty members Heather Kendall and Stephanie Stewart to join me on stage for the distribution of the pins. Ms. Kendall will be reading the names of the graduates, and Ms. Stewart will be assisting with the distribution of the pins. Got it? Oh, you need yours with you. I'm so worried about wiping my eyes, I forgot my program. All right. Stacy Allington.
Mona Alonhazy. Lainey Bamfield. Caitlin Basher. Lauren Black. Ashley Bradford, RN. Heaven Bryant. Michaela Campbell. Kimberly Chilton. Taylor Claypole. Katie Cluck. Kaylee Coates. Carly Creekmore. Mandy Davis, RN. Sherry Dover, RN. Janessa Frood. Crystal Goodall. Carson Har. Jill Harris. Sarah Heckman. Jessica Jones. Kira Jones. Sadie Kennedy. Heather King. Kristen King. Shannon King. Randy Myers. Jacob Nicolay. Valerie Orlando. Rachel Pace. Ashley Petit. Hannah Flugrat. Rebecca Pritzel. Mackenzie Ramsey. Jody Rhodes. Victoria Rell. Angelica Sands. Brenna Smith. Kara Streben. Congratulations, graduating class December 2017.
Congratulations. I would now like to invite Ms. Heaven Bryant to the stage to offer some remarks on behalf of the class of December 2017.
I would like to begin by thanking family, friends, and also the faculty who helped us get through this crazy journey. I believe I can speak for all of us when I say that without all of you in this room, we would not be walking across the stage today. Looking back on the first day of orientation, most of us were bright-eyed and ready to conquer nursing school. Little did we know that nursing school is not something you conquer, it's something you survive. When we stepped into first semester, excited and smiling, we had no idea what we were stepping into. But we learned some important lessons. Taylor's is the nursing school Bible. If it's not charted, it wasn't done. And finally, yes, that answer on the test was correct, but it wasn't the most correct. In second semester, we spent hours of sleepless nights fueled by Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks coffee, preparing for our first clinicals in the hospital setting. And when we finally felt like we knew what we were doing, we got on the floor and realized we had no clue. We also learned that although it's a nice break from reality, Grey's Anatomy is a pretty inaccurate representation of what actual hospital life is like. Third semester was our toughest semester yet. We learned that no amount of coffee could get us through critical care exams. Treating kids is not the same as treating adults. And most importantly, most of us figured out what specialty of nursing we wanted to go into. In our final semester, we realized that maybe we can do this whole thing. And we learned what it means to be a leader. In and out of the classroom, we can say that this journey has been a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. Throughout the last 2 years, we have been through a lot of hardships together, not only in nursing school, but also in life. No matter what we were going through, we always seemed to support each other, from baby showers to helping each other study for finals and keeping each other sane through lab appointments, critical care, and interviewing for jobs. Getting to this point wasn't easy, but we got here together, and today, finally, we will leave this campus together as nurses. Before we leave here as nurses, I would like to leave you all with an important message that I have learned through listening to all of you through your experiences. You often see that nurses are very humble. When being thanked by patients, nurses usually respond with, "Oh, I am just a nurse." I have often wondered why nurses see themselves as just a nurse. In our experiences, we have learned that nurses are not just nurses. Nurses are open arms, a shoulder to cry on, a hand to hold, and open ears. Nurses are advocates. They fight for what is right and know exactly what to do to get their patient exactly what they need. Nurses are friends and sometimes even family to their patients. Nurses make sure that their patients are never alone. From time to time, nurses are hairdressers, fashion designers, and it seems like miracle workers, all to make their patients feel comfortable. There is a reason that nursing has been the most trusted profession for many years. Repeatedly, nurses show that they are much more than just nurses. They are everything their patients need them to be, exactly when they need them to be it. On our day of orientation for this program many months ago, we were told that as nurses, we have the privilege to be with a person during the best and worst times of their lives, during times of birth and times of death. As we embark on this new journey, remember, we are more than just a nurse. We are more than ordinary, we are extraordinary. And while heroes may save one life, nurses save hundreds. It's finally our time to go save some lives. And as Derek Shepard from Grey's Anatomy said, it is a beautiful day to save lives, so let's go save some.
Thank you. On behalf of the nursing faculty, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to the class of December 2017. For the pre-licensure students, you are soon to become members of one of the most trusted and time-honored professions. For the registered nurses who are already members and have now earned their bachelor's degrees, we're proud of your dedication and leadership in the profession. We welcome all of the graduates as Missouri Western nursing alumni. We invite you all to stay behind to visit and enjoy the refreshments that are in the back before heading over to commencement, which will take place in Looney Complex Arena. I would ask members of the audience to remain seated while the platform party, graduates, and faculty exit. Thank you for coming, and congratulations, graduates.